A few years ago now, I am at Dr. Richard Portalupe's house, and we are going in for a coaching session. And Rich and I were in the kitchen, and he had walked away for whatever reason. And I decided, hey, I'm going to make some coffee. So, make some coffee. I put it in this new patient group. We give out these cool thermal mugs. They're like Yetis. I think it's a different brand, but they're really nice. New patient group logo and all that good stuff, colors. And so I put the coffee in it. And I go to put the lid on, and this sucker wouldn't close. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is going on here? I am pushing as hard as I can, can't get it on. I go, well, I just took the lid off a minute ago, so I know it's the right lid. I know it fits. Well, then comes Rich, a few minutes later, and I'm like, Rich, what the heck am I doing wrong? And he comes over, and he is pushing the lid on, and he can't figure it out. We're sitting there going, what the hell is going on with this lid? Well, we're sitting there, we're getting ready because we have to leave for the office, and we have a team like I said, we had a team coaching session that day. So the team's showing up, and we're gonna train on sales and hospitality and just have a large session like we do. And all of a sudden I flip up the piece that you sip out of, right? So that little piece that flips up that you sip out of the lid, I just flip it up and naturally, like I wasn't even thinking about this. And then I put it on, and guess what? Fit perfectly. Right. And he and I look at each other like, are you kidding? Like two grown men, can't figure it out. How many people does it take to to put a lid on a coffee cup or a coffee mug, whatever it is, this thermal mug? And obviously the reason was, right, is it released the pressure. Right? That pressure as I pushed it down was just popping that baby right back up. And, sometimes the most obvious things can be staring at us right in the face. And this is so true in life. Employees out there that listen to the show, so true in your career on, hey, why am I not getting a promotion? Why am I not getting a pay raise? Why am I not getting the job that I want? Right? Same thing in life. Why can't I buy the house that I want? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Business owners out there, this is so true in your business. Sometimes the most obvious things are staring at us right in the face while sales are down or they're not where you want. New customers, new patients, right? The phone's not ringing. The online reservation button isn't being clicked. Efficiency, if you have high turnover, whatever it is, there's obvious reasons that are staring at us many times right in the face. But oftentimes, we are too damn close to the things going on in our lives, going on in our careers, going on in our businesses to see sometimes the most simple of answers. And hey, everybody, welcome inside the broadcast booth. We've got a really good one for you today. And this is going to be, I have two kind of announcements here before we kick off that I'm really excited about. And we're going to be having further announcements later on as well. And, before I get to these announcements, just one more piece on the obvious here is, Richard told me a story when I was there, and this is a well-publicized story, and we talked about it whenever we went into the office, and I was coaching the team, and we were going through role play sessions to get these amazing things installed into his practice, into his business. And one of them, many years ago, there's a semi truck driving down the street, and it gets stuck going under an overpass, and the semi was too tall for the overpass, the bridge. It gets stuck, and they can't get it out. They have all these scientists and engineers looking at it like, what do we do? Like, we can't get this thing out. I mean, it's blocking the highway. Like, we're really screwed here. Well, some little kid comes along. We're talking little kid comes along and says, why don't you just let the air out of the tires? And all these very intelligent people just start looking at each other like, oh my God, how the hell did we not think about that? They let the air out of the tires, it sunk down, they towed the semi away, rest is history. And it just goes back to this theme of obvious, and there's a very specific reason why I wanted to do the episode today around the obvious is going to be around professional image, some things that may be going on with you as an individual, and how that can impact the sale. We get into such a habit as entrepreneurs, as business owners, into this singular focus, forgetting that everything, the whole journey, is what creates sales. It's what creates referrals. It's really what represents your brand. It's never about one simple thing. But so many of these obvious things are staring us out of the face. And today we're going to be doing our very first co-host series. Whenever I have the business owners to my house as part of the mastermind group, whenever you're here moving forward, we're going to sit down and we're going to get into the studio here and we're going to do a podcast together. And today I welcome in Dr. Bryn Cooper for our very first co-host series to talk about professional image and how it's costing you, or lack thereof, and how it's costing you new sales, new customers, patients, whatever you want to call them, right? Efficiency and so much more going on in your office. And we're going to focus really on one simple thing today that many of you out there really need to pay attention to, because the more I look at this and the more I've noticed it, the more it really bugs me on how you all don't notice that these type of things are going on. And again, I think it goes back to the obvious staring at us in the face, and oftentimes we're so close to it, we can't even tell. And this co-host series is going to be kicked off today with the very first one. And the reason I'm doing this particular one is my other announcement is we are going to be changing and rebranding the New Patient Group podcast into the Brian Wright Show. Now, this is not coming tomorrow, but it is coming in the near future. And I wanted to have a couple podcasts, and we've been putting it out on social media. I've made several LinkedIn posts. We've been posting it across all kinds of different social media outlets on the name change. Now, some of you know that a long time ago, I started a second podcast called The Brian Wright Show. That one has been deleted and taken off of public accounts, okay? So you're not going to have to go to that one. And if you're already a subscriber to the New Patient Group podcast, you don't need to do anything. The new Brian Wright Show is automatically going to flip the name of the New Patient Group podcast. So it's automatically going to come up. It'll have a new podcast description, a new picture there that you see on the thumbnail image in your podcast. If like on iTunes as an example, you're not going to have to do a thing. But I did want to let everybody know we're doing it. And here's why. No, our expertise is leadership to create exceptional cultures. Right? Run very efficient, smooth businesses that keep great employees and organically get rid of the bad ones. We are experts in sales, hospitality, verbiage, consumer psychology, presentation skills, communication skills, on how it relates to the job description and what they do inside your office via every interaction with people that you want to buy from you, right? So on the initial phone call, when they call your office, when they walk through the door, when you're presenting money, and all the other interactions that you all can think of that would go on leading up to somebody making a decision on whether or not they buy from you or somebody else. And the other one is just organic. How do we create exceptional organic digital marketing content to make and showcase our business better than the other options people have? And we teach that. Our niche, this may be the first podcast you've ever listened to, our niche happened to fall into orthodontics, dentistry, and other healthcare specialties years upon years ago, because when you type in Invisalign as an example into Google, you're going to get 10, 15, 20 options within a very short drive commute from your office, your house, whatever it may be, your kid's school. Right? Which means whether you like it or not, if you're in that industry as a doctor business owner, you are commoditized. And the decision-making process that a consumer goes through from A to Z is no different than if you typed in pasta carbonara best in town and 10 Italian restaurants came up, right? That journey to sale and repeat business, referrals, et cetera, is no different regardless of the industry that you are in. Now, there are some differences. There's some different terminologies. But the foundational things of how to be a great leader, how to sell at a high dollar, by the way, that's another thing that we teach on here, is how to be the highest priced of the 10 opinions and how to convert at the highest levels, okay, in all businesses. So the name New Patient Group, over the course of many years now, we've been around as I do this podcast today, the New Patient Group company itself has been around about 13 years. And this niche we have in orthodontics, dentistry, and beyond, like I said, is just exceptional. But we also have a following of hotels, restaurants, entrepreneurs outside of healthcare, executives of Align Technology, dental monitoring, OrthoFi, et cetera, reps across many spectrums in and out of healthcare. And because of this expertise, I wanted to rebrand the podcast into something that would not turn off. If you're a restaurant owner, as an example, and you're shopping or looking around for podcasts, the second you see new patient group, you're probably not going to listen, right? So it turns off a lot of entrepreneurs that could otherwise listen to the show. And the vision of so many other things with our company is going to be announced later, some really cool new things that we're doing. So the podcast is going to be the same as far as the things I talk about on here, the lessons learned, and things like that. So very loyal listener group that we have out there. I mean, I appreciate it so much to so many of you out there. And nothing's going to change. This is only going to make it better. I'm going to be bringing in some awesome entrepreneurs as guests. We're going to start this co-host series. I've got so many amazing ideas because the majority of this podcast is a contemporary radio show, right? The majority of them still are not going to be guests. The majority of them are going to be where I sit back here, we're telling stories, but we have a point, right? There's something legitimate that you can take back to whatever business you have, and you can thrive in this new economy that I call it, which when we do the very first episode of the Brian Wright Show, I am going to, or not the first episode, but when the very first episode comes out with the rebrand, I am going to dive in to and kind of redefine what the new economy is, why we are the voice of so many big name business owners out there to guide them through this ever evolving, ever changing new economy, this very dynamic consumer that is always on the go, always changing, and very few businesses, unfortunately, catch up, right? They not only don't catch up, they don't stay ahead. So the podcast, everyone, is just going to get better and better and better. And the topic today about professional image, regardless of the type business owner you are out there. Now, Dr. Bryn Cooper is an orthodontist, and we're going to be talking about an orthodontic example today. But I don't care what type of business you have. I don't care where you are in your life, your career, your business journey. Today is going to make you rethink things on how sometimes the reason people aren't calling you, the reason people aren't buying from you, the reason people aren't referring, etc., the whole process that every business owner we all dream of, right, is staring right at you the face, and a lot of times it's you. Okay, and we're going to dive in one that I think you'll go, oh crap, that's obvious. Why didn't I think about it? And then hopefully make the necessary switch if you do fall into this category. But the point today isn't just the one topic that we're going to be talking about. It is across the board of ambiance, anything related to professional image, right? Do you work out, right, is an example. Like how you look, how you present yourself, how you speak, ambiance, and so much more. And we're going to narrow it down to one thing that, I tell you, if you're an orthodontist or you're in really any dental profession or any doctor out there and you have this, you may want to think about fixing it. All right, everybody? And look, all business owners out there, this is a perfect example of why we are rebranding the podcast to the Brian Wright Show, because yes, we're going to be talking about something that is orthodontic related in nature, but it just, regardless of what you do out there, plumber, lawyer, I always use the restaurant example, right? Because I'm obsessed with food. I love to cook. I love the restaurant. I love to help restaurants. Just, this is an example, all of you. And you've got to be able to look outside your industry. You've got to be able to use your imagination, and you've got to go, look, that skill set, yes, it's an example for this type of business, and I don't have this type of business. Or it's an example for this type of an employee in this role, but I don't have that employee, that role. But how do I take that and apply it to the journey that the consumer goes through with me and how my business goes through with them to create a brand that is absolutely dominant? And you will get so much more out of your life, your career, business, everybody, if you're constantly thinking outside the industry. And look, back to the rebrand. The reason so many orthodontists, dentists, others, doctors look to us to help them kick butt is we come from outside your world, just like we come outside many of your worlds out there. But they are able to use their imagination and go, look, these people are experts in these skill sets, and these skill sets are not orthodontics, not dentistry, etc. They have nothing to do with it. They're everything about being an exceptional people-first business that sells more of your product or service because of it. So looking forward to these changes. Co-host series we're going to launch today. Upcoming rebrand of the New Patient Group podcast into the Brian Wright Show. And like I said, there's not a thing you need to do if you're already subscribed. Just simply sit there. The episodes are going to start coming, right? And the pictures are going to change, but everything else is going to be right there for you, okay? So wanted to start educating everybody. So before we get started, let's fire up the music, and we're going to kick it off with a great co-host series with Dr. Bryn Cooper. We'll see you on the other side.
The time for real change is now. When tough times test us, we overcome. When hardship hits us, we persevere, we innovate, we transform. If you're ready to achieve something special, buckle up and get ready for the ride of your life. Welcome to Season 8 of the New Patient Group audio experience, a podcast dedicated to revolutionizing lives, careers, and business, so you, your team, and your practice forever flourish in the new economy. And now, your host. He's a husband, father of two, a founder and CEO of New Patient Group and RightChat, faculty for Align Technology, and a trusted speaker for Invisalign and OrthoFi, Brian Wright.
Hi, this is Dr. Bryn Cooper, and
Am I supposed to talk now?
yes,
Hey, everybody. I'm Brian Wright.
and we are going to talk about something today that Brian and I have both noticed as we've walked around a ton of orthodontic meetings and talked to orthodontists.
This drives me nuts.
I always wondered this as I went through school, and it's just a conundrum.
So one of our team members, Stephanie Solomon, actually was the one that pointed this out to me one day. I actually had never noticed it, but since she's brought it up at one of the events, I noticed it like it stands out like the biggest sore thumb ever.
Pause. Stephanie Solomon has only been on your team, what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, something like
So
that.
how long were you in orthodontics before you noticed this?
Well, as we do this podcast today, she's been with us 2 or 3 years, but I've been in orthodontics now, I guess 11. So in November of 2024, New Patient Group will have now been around 12 years, which is it's kind of unbelievable.
Right. So then, like, you were in orthodontics for a few years before
Yeah,
Stephanie was on the team.
You can see that I have a wonderful sense of my surroundings because I didn't. I never noticed it. I never noticed it. But I do now, and I guarantee you other people notice it. And why in the world do you all have crooked teeth?
Well, I don't.
It makes no sense.
My grandfather was an orthodontist, and I had braces 3 times. So mine are not crooked. Let's let the record stand.
See, smile into the hey, YouTube followers. It was in plastic surgery for numerous years. And that would be like the employees and the plastic surgeon having droopy skin and or zits all over their face while trying to tell people the importance of them having great skin, nice and firm, and blah, blah, blah. What the hell is this?
I don't know. I also think this is probably why people don't understand that the adults need orthodontics for prevention of wearing down their teeth, keeping them for forever.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem.
You do you? I mean, can you imagine? That's the thing. You guys are in your exam, sitting in front of the patient, trying to create value, wondering why they don't want to spend what you charge. And you've got, whatever, a social 6 completely jacked up.
And they're sitting there looking at you like you function just fine. Why are you telling me I have to have straight teeth to actually function or get this implant or have a bridge or whatever it is? And then as teenagers, I mean, I guess they just accept it, or like that's what you're supposed to do. It's your rite of passage. And so that's why the teenage orthodontics has not particularly been hurt by this. But I definitely think it hurts adults considering orthodontics in the exam.
Well, if nothing else, it hurts the sale. If you're going around to, this is what I preach for a living. If you're shopping between 3, 4, 5 practices, as an example, and you go into 3 of the 4 and the orthodontist has jacked up teeth, and you go into the other one and the teeth are beautiful and you're paying attention to that, who has the upper hand?
People who have
hi, trust me to straighten your teeth. My teeth are crooked, but trust me to straighten yours.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, this is a business lesson, but it's also encompasses so much other stuff.
Well, the other thing is that as an orthodontist, I practice in my clinic, right? And then the people closest to me are my competitors. They're not particularly my friends. So it's like,
You can't be friends with your competitors?
we try sometimes, but I'm sorry, the ones around me are a little cutthroat. So
You're
it's
so territorial.
I know. But I mean, once you get about 10, 15 miles away, then I start having friends. It's like, okay, I'm not such a bad person.
Why is the industry like that?
Well, there's lots of theories on that, Brian.
The podcast for another time?
That's another podcast.
Yeah. Well, Rob Schaefer and Matt Josie, you'll enjoy that.
They will.
Have you seen the shirt Rob Schaefer made for me?
I did.
Oh, yeah, you were there.
I was there in person and saw it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the first time in my life I got a call from a non-spam person right in the middle of the podcast.
Happens.
I'm going to take it later. That was Haley.
I saw.
Say hi to Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Hi, Haley. Well, everybody, straighten your teeth. I mean, everything, ambiance. It's like going into a meat market and all the cuts of fillets. And this happens. This drives me nuts too. Mm-hmm. You go and you look in the window and all the cuts of the fillets look like Helen Keller designed them. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know.
Well, I did. So that's just the way it's going to be.
It is.
And you wonder, looking in the window, how in the hell anybody would ever cut those and showcase it and think somebody's going to buy those, especially if you know what you're doing in the kitchen. And it's the same way with teeth. That's why everything's the same. It's like not plating your food properly in a restaurant. Everything matters, everybody.
Hey, everybody, Brian right here. Let's break away from today's podcast, and you can see the topic, right? We're talking about one particular thing with crooked teeth and how that relates to personal, professional image. You know, when my dad was alive, he was an engineer, and the way a lot of and not just engineers, but certainly knowing engineers, like I knew my dad and a lot of people he worked with, the way their brain worked, if they walked into your practice and you had a crooked picture on the wall and you straighten teeth for a living, they'd be telling themselves all day long, I'm not buying from this place. I already don't trust them. They can't get a simple task like straightening the picture on the wall properly, yet they're going to try to charge me $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 to straighten my kid's teeth. Right? This is the thought process. And again, you can see if your ambiance is a restaurant, the carpet, pictures on the wall, it could be in your hotel, it could be your legal firm, it could be any type of entrepreneur, any type of business owner you are out there, you can see how all of these relate to one another. And it goes so far beyond what so many of you think is the real problems, right? A lot of times it's not advertising. You don't need more. You need to look with inside your doors and say, how can we function and showcase us as a people-first business to drive our sales higher? Allow us to charge more or higher prices and convert at a higher level, and so much more, right? This could be a topic that covers hundreds upon hundreds of things, but you've got to look within, and it always starts with looking at yourself, the type leader you are. In this case, this particular topic we're talking about today, I mean, if you do happen to have crooked teeth, guys, you have to get those fixed if you want to showcase yourself properly from a professional, personal image standpoint. Your team in the back can't have crooked teeth, right? It'd be like, again, the team members at a plastic surgery office, right? Not being in shape and looking the part and having great skin and things like that. A plastic surgeon can't survive in a competitive marketplace like that. No different than you can't survive with a bunch of people, including you, inside an orthodontic practice that have crooked teeth. And you've got to be thinking this way, always. Regardless of the type business owner, you have to have the imagination, understand how this relates to you. Now, I want to talk to you really fast as this podcast comes out in March. We're about to have our clinical assistant iconic event here in Colorado Springs at our famous training facility, and it is beautiful. And we are getting, this event is growing. It is the best event, period, that's out there. We have people that attend it. They say they're never going to all the bigger name events that you all know in the industry and beyond. They're done. They're coming to this event, MPG Iconic. And I want to talk to you about, now it's too late to register for the March one. We got a packed house, right? We only take a certain amount of people because we do want to keep it, even though it's growing and growing, and it always will be. We're going to try to keep that privateness to it as much as possible for the personal attention and the role plays that we want to make sure to give everyone that attends. But in October, boy, oh boy, do we have an amazing Iconic. It's an all-team event, right? You bring your whole team there. It is going to be, and I want you to think Tony Robbins, Shark Tank, when you think of this type of event. We are going to put on an amazing show. I want you to start looking into it for you and your team and make plans to come join us at our training facility in Colorado Springs in October. You can click on the link for the description, or I'm going to put it in the description below the link. You can contact us. I'm going to put a how to schedule a free consult with us in the description below as well. You can contact us to learn more, but be looking for that event and start doing something different for you and your team, and you will not believe what you're missing out on. Once you finally attend one, you're going to be attending for years to come, okay? So hope everyone is going to attend a great Iconic in October. We're going to have an awesome one in March. And again, today's lesson, everybody, professional image and how it relates, though, to so many businesses, so many topics, even though we're really relating it to just one today, all right? Hope everyone's joined today's first co-host series, and now back to today's episode.
Yeah, you should have straight teeth. Your assistant should have straight teeth.
Yeah.
Your friends, your nucleus of family should have straight teeth.
That's definitely a podcast for another time, but if you're wanting to start more clear aligners, what drives me nuts is one, the assistants with crooked teeth. Doesn't really have anything to do with just clear aligners in my point. But my point is a lot of you out there will nickel and dime because you don't want the lab fee. So you'll put your assistants in braces. Meanwhile, you're a practice that wants to do more clear aligners. Like, do you hear how ridiculous that is? You're missing one of the best marketing opportunities on the planet for your assistants and your TC to be able to tell their real life story of clear aligners using the doctor they work for. And you won't do it because of the lab fee.
That would be the equivalent of, and this is why, again, everything's the same. Doesn't matter what type of business you have. And I do have a podcast specifically on this topic coming, and actually multiple of them in the future. But that's like the restaurants out there not having their waiters try the specials for the evening. Like, do you hear how insane that is, right? The best marketing is your waiter going up to the table, tell their story about how the chef made it. And what you felt when you tasted it, and how it's plated, and the beauty of the flavors, and how the flavors just go with this certain type of wine. And I really suggest that you get this bottle and this special for the table for this evening. Like, if you don't let your waiters taste the specials because you're trying to save on food costs, right? How the hell are the waiters going to articulate it and make you more money? And this is the same thing. And this is why, again, all businesses are the same if you can use your imagination and come outside the box. It's the same thing with you nickel and diming your clear aligner lab fee, slapping braces on your employees when you want to do more clear aligners. It's just asinine because your assistants, your treatment coordinators, they can't tell the story no different than your waiters can if they don't taste the frickin' specials, everybody.
Meanwhile, you're out dropping $5,000 a month on pay-per-click.
Yeah. No, well,
You drive me crazy. Why are you guys like this?
My daughter, I was talking to her. It's about time for her to get an expander. Her 6s were coming in, and I'm like, okay, so do you want an expander? You want this? And she was like, and this is like 2 days before school ends. She goes, Mommy, I want braces before the end of school. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. So now she's lost her 2 front teeth, so she doesn't have those. So we can't put a 2x4 on. So
Are you talking like this?
Not really. She's figured it out.
That's good. They were in when I was there, right? This was since I've been at your house?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't remember her missing her too. She lost them both?
Yeah. Yeah, she has.
She showed me like 27 cheerleading moves the last time I was there.
She likes them.
I tried to duplicate one. It didn't go well.
I bet not. She practices hard.
She does. You can tell. Anyway.
Oh, yes. But anyways, I was like, okay, so don't you want some clear aligners? And she's like, no, Mom, I want braces. And I was like, you do? Because I'd really like you to show off some clear aligners. I love treating in clear aligners. Okay.
Oh. Or you could be the parent and tell her what to do. You ever thought about that one? That's a podcast for another time too.
It is a podcast for another time. Is this the battle I'm going to pick?
I don't know.
Is this the one worth it?
I guess I'm a jerk. My kids aren't going to get a choice.
They're getting aligners?
Clear aligners. But anyway, all right, we're going to sign out. We turned what were we talking about today? Oh yeah, orthodontist with crooked teeth.
Orthodontist.
Get your teeth straightened, everybody. Yeah, straighten out your business and your teeth.
There you go.
Until next time, we'll talk to everybody soon, right?
Yeah.
We got more coming?
We have some more coming.
Awesome. See everybody.
Bye.